Hey, it's me, Harlink. I haven't been on the computer or on YouTube really made any videos on here for a while. Um, but I just decided today at 11:30 at night, I decided I'd make a quick little video here. By quick, I mean this is probably gonna run me like 10 minutes, but yeah, feel free to make fun of my obnoxious hair and lack of any creativity put into this, but Call of Duty Black Ops, but yeah, that is not what this video is about. Yeah, we'd rather talk about older video game stuff than we would Black Ops right now, anyway. So, if if you guys haven't, been able to tell from the title of this video, there's a little thing called a Nintendo 64 Hori mini controller, and it's very rare. I think I have not seen a lot of videos about it, and I haven't seen much information about it anywhere online. And there isn't very many auctions around, like on eBay or whatever, wherever the hell you go for your, to buy stuff. But I'm just gonna start by showing you the original N64 controller, and this typical. You've got a D-pad, and you've got your C buttons, A and B. Here, your start button, and you've got your this. Um, but we'll get more on that later. We've got the your trigger, and you've got your L and R buttons right here, which if you're like me, you'll notice that the L button and the D-pad are basically almost completely useless for most of the games on the N64, because for the most part you're going to be holding these two, you know, you're not going to hold the controller like this. You're going to be holding the controller like this, sort of. Yeah. But um, if there's one complaint that everyone has with the N64 controller, it's that the analog stick here is, very, very poorly manufactured, and just the plastic of it. For games like Mario Party, when you have to spin it, it can leave gashes in your hand. I grew up playing Mario Party, and I remember all the time having like that round circular indent in your skin, and that hurt. But these things are prone to malfunction. They don't always stay in the middle, so your character will like run to the right when you're trying to go to the left because it wasn't completely centered when you started your console. That is when a couple months ago I started looking into stuff like this. I was like, if I could get an N64 controller that had, if you know, at least had a GameCube joystick, I'd be fine. That'd be perfect. Because I constantly have to replace that analog stick. So I started looking for it, and then someone mentioned to me something about a mini N64 controller they had seen. So I started looking into that, and I found some pictures, and there's like one video here on YouTube about it, and it's just explaining about it, and I figured I'd make a video on here about it too myself. So here's what mine looks like. I think this is probably the most common of all of them, the one you'll see the most. Um, so the very first thing you'll notice is that there's only two sticks. There isn't the third middle center shaft thing coming down there. This little D-pad's down here kind of reminds me of like a GameCube controller, and the GameCube controller had this wicked small D-pad. You've got your A and B buttons, which are a lot smoother on your fingers than the original. The C buttons here are also a lot smoother, and the start button is a piece of rubber instead of the piece of plastic it was on the original controller, but that's not like a big problem. I don't think at this point I'm going to have any risk of just ripping that piece of plastic out. I don't, I'm past that age. So you see here on the back, there is no trigger, there is no Z button, and that's because there's actually here on the back, you kind of have to hold the controller like this, and the, these are both a Z button, so you can use either of them for Z, and then this is R and L. So any games that might have used the L button, you can actually now hit the L button without any significant problems. Um, and on the back here, you've got your Rumble Pack and memory card, or your transfer pack plug-in. But the main feature, obviously, is the joystick, which is basically, it's an exact copy of the GameCube stick, and it's flawless, really. This is probably most definitely the best N64 controller you'll ever be able to get your hands on. The only problem with it is it's really absurdly expensive, and that's mainly because it was released, from what I understand, it was released in like 2001, which is basically, the N64 was dead at that point. There was maybe 2 games that came out for the N64 in the year 2001. Maybe 3. Mario Party 3, Conquer, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. That's what comes to mind, but it was basically dead at that point. On top of that, it was only released in Japan by a company named Hori, Hori, I don't know. Uh, so yeah, it's an extremely rare controller, and I ended up paying $60, and obviously I had to wait a couple weeks for it to come in the mail from Japan. But in terms of the quality, it's, if you like playing the N64, and a lot of people are gonna say, why would you pay $60 for like, you could go out and buy Call of Duty Black Ops for $60, or you could buy a controller for $60. And the thing is, I'm not at really any lack of money, so I don't really, at this point, you know, it doesn't really concern me. So uh, I definitely would recommend this if you're willing to fork out money for it. A lot of them are just your typical yellow controller with nothing included with it, and you know, the box and manual, which I'm not sure why you'd need a box and a manual for a controller anyway. But yeah, that'll run you a lot more, and depending on the color, like the yellow one's the most common, so probably $60. And then I saw the light blue one, the see-through blue one was like 180, and the see-through red one was 170, and the green one was like 80. Completely ridiculous prices for a controller, I know, but it's so worth it. You don't have to constantly replace that analog stick, and you know, the one problem is if you have ginormous, like really ginormous hands, you might have a problem with this. I mean, I've got fairly decent sized hands, because I'm not exactly the skinniest person on planet Earth, but you know, I don't have any problem holding it in my hand. I mean, I've had no trouble with it. And you know, games like Mario Party, if you invite a bunch of friends over and all your friends are using this and you're using this, you'll win every time, because, well, the games that go like this, it doesn't leave that indent in your hand, like I said. Um, yeah, like I said though, it's very rare, and I had to look pretty hard to find any information. There's not any info on like Wikipedia, which is where most people would go for their information on this thing. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, Wikipedia is pretty much what everyone uses for their research, uh, which, you know, it's fairly unreliable, but whatever. So basically, the one problem with this is its rarity, and you know, if you maybe like go scouting for it, maybe at yard sales, you won't find it in the United States, or basically anywhere in the western side of the world, as it, you know, it's rare, only released in Japan, and the chance of you finding it real cheap are slim to none. No one's gonna sell this for cheap. You've gotta look for it, and if you find a nice price, you gotta snatch it quick, because I guarantee that people will start noticing this, and it's gonna raise in price an awful lot. And I feel I'm actually kind of lucky I got it for $60. But yeah, there's that. Very, very great controller if you're willing to fork the money out for it. And yeah, this is Tim Harmon, or Harlink as you better know me, and I just decided to make a video to show you guys that. And until next time, you guys take it easy.